Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are cookies. But we're going to make Italian cookies, Italian chocolate chip cookies. Now these particular cookies are not your regular kind of the American chocolate chip cookies. So if you're really looking for a specific really true American chocolate chip cookies, I do have them on my channel, so please check them out. But this texture is different than American chocolate chip cookies. But oh, it is a good tasting cookie. It really is. So let's get started. First, we're going to start off with our butter. And I would use unsalted butter, and you need a cup. I went ahead and I cut it up into small pieces because I think it's quicker and faster to cream as well as for the video. So that was 1 cup of unsalted butter, and I cut it up into small pieces. Now I no longer put the recipes below the video, so hopefully I'll go slow enough and clear enough that if you want to jot them down in the notes to try this recipe, you're going to be able to do that. Okay, so already the 1 cup of butter is in my mixing bowl. Also, if you want to use your hand mixer for this, that'll work great too. It really will. I like the stand up because it's a lot quicker and easier for me for the video. Alright, now I'm going to warn you about the sound of the mixer because it can be loud, and I'm going to break it up and cream it, and then I'll start adding the sugar, and I'll tell you the amount in just a second. Okay, now of course you're going to break up your butter and cream it a lot longer than that. And in fact, once we add the granulated sugar, it's really best to cream it and beat it for about 2 minutes. So it's really light, really fluffy, and you know, it has that real pretty lemony color, yellow. So I'm going to add my granulated sugar, and it's 1 cup. 1 cup. Now, remember, that's when really the 2 minutes really comes in at this point, because you know you really want to cream this together. So I'm going to warn you about the sound, and I'm going to let it go for a few more seconds. Alright, now you're not going to be probably using that high of a speed, but again, I'm trying to move it along, okay? The next thing you're going to need is 6 eggs. I've had them at room temperature. I'm going to slowly beat 1 at a time till they're all in there, okay? So we'll start off with our first one, our second, now our third, and fourth. Now we're going for the 5th and the 6th. I didn't quite put my fingers up correctly there, but I thought you maybe wouldn't hear me over that beater. So that didn't work out as well as I thought. Okay, warn you about the sound, and I'm going to mix it a little bit longer. And again, take time. Take that minute or another minute and a half to really beat that in. You're also going to put 1 tablespoon of vanilla. 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And then I'm always mindful to check the sides of my mixing bowl and get to the bottom where it tends to stick. Okay. So we're going to beat this for a little bit longer. towel there just in case so it doesn't go all over the kitchen. And then with my whisk or a spoon or a fork, you're going to need 4 cups of all-purpose flour. And in that 4 cups, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Yes, I did say 2 tablespoons. I know some people will probably write me and say, oh, no, that sounds like too much. You know, you must have made a mistake. No, 2 tablespoons, and I'm just going to whisk that in. Give it a little whisk and a stir. And then we're also going to put salt in, and that's a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now what we're going to do, of course, is add the dry to the wet till we get our cookie dough. And we're going to keep the speed a little bit low so again it doesn't go all over the kitchen. Whoops. Some more flour goes in. I'm going to put the rest of that dry in flour. And now on low, take your time and make sure it's blended well. You don't really want to beat it. I'm going to use a higher speed just to move it along. Okay, again, I like to check those sides. Get to the bottom, take a look down there and mix it well. All right, and I'll show you what we have so far. We've got this really pretty creamy cookie dough, as you can see. All right. And of course, we're going to need chocolate chips. So, and I'm quite generous on these. If you find that you think that's too many, cut it back a little bit. Or if you don't think it's enough, you can add a little more. But I have 1½ cups. And then I'm just going to just move the paddle around. I don't want to break them up. But I like to make sure that they're well mixed and you know, evenly distributed. Now, someone might write and say, oh, gee, you forgot to put nuts in. Well, this cookie, traditionally, nuts don't go in it. I'm not saying that you can't put them in. I never do myself, because this cookie is traditionally doesn't have nuts in it. And I'm just going to try to take the excess off here. Try not to waste too much. And then I'm going to just push that out of the way and clean up my bowl. Take a look at the bottom. If not, I'll put it back on with the beater or just stir it well with a spoon or my spatula. But it does look well combined. And you can see all those beautiful chocolate chips in there, okay? Now, I also keep a little bit of them on the side of the reserve, and I'll tell you that in just a second. I want to just rinse my hands real quick. Now, on your cookie sheet or cookie pan, I am using parchment paper. Go ahead and feel free to use your, you know, your silicone or your Teflon mats or whatever type of mat that you like to use. If you don't, I would suggest a little bit of oil spray if you're not going to use a paper or a mat or that kind of thing. Okay. I'm using this size scoop. It is not the smallest one. It's one step up from the small one. In fact, let me show you, the different sizes because, to get a better perspective. This is the small one. This is the size up. And then you see there's, of course, a bigger one and then even 2 more that are bigger. But this is the one that I'm using. One size up from the small. If you don't have that or you don't like using scoops, then put them down by tablespoons, you know. Okay? And I'm going to do that. Just put a couple down. Now, they don't spread out too much. They tend to bake up more, you know, like higher, which I like. That's what I like. I really don't want them to turn out flat. And then what I like to do is, you don't have to, of course, but I just take a couple of them and I put them on the top. Now, if you don't want to do that, you know, feel free, you know, leave it off. The cookie's still going to taste fantastic. It's going to look good either way. But, you know, you can have it and just garnish them with a little bit of that, okay? So we'll put that aside for the moment. I'm going to rinse my hands quick because I was handling raw cookie dough with eggs, because I want to show you what they look like once they're baked up. And this is how they turn out. They will have a beautiful dome top to them. If you put the pieces on top, the cookie will look more like this, okay, than the smooth top if you don't garnish them, okay. You know, they might come out a little bit different sizes, where some are more round and maybe some are a little bit more oval. Now, I particularly like them when they have a very light colored finish on the top and then an extremely light bottom. The texture of the cookie is exactly the way it should be. If you want a drier cookie, then you can bake them longer till the tops are more of a golden brown, but to me the cookie becomes a bit more dense or too dry. So we tend to make them where they're lighter in color on the top. We don't bake to a real golden brown. Now, the top is a hard finish, so is the bottom. When you break into it though, it is a cake type cookie, if you know what I mean by that. But as I'm squeezing it, I don't know if you can see that or not, how moist it is. So it has a bit of a chew to it. So they're not real hard, they're not real dense, but they're, like I said, I think the term cake is probably the best way to describe them. But then they have a chew to them. But they're so light, and they feel light as air when you do bite into them, and they just sort of like melt in your mouth, if you know what I mean by that. They are a great tasting cookie with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or cappuccino or something like that, or just a nice glass of cold milk. These cookies really can hit the spot. They really can. You know, I want to tell you if you try this recipe and you like it, well, let me know. Please write, because I like to hear from you. But I just want to remind you to please watch me solely only on YouTube, because that's the only place I put my videos. So if my videos are somewhere else and you see them, somebody's either pinned them or taken them or claimed them as theirs. And that's why I don't put the recipes below anymore. It's not worth it for me. I'm so frustrated when I see people write to me and I can't answer. But if you watch me on YouTube, you write to me on YouTube, I'm going to get your question, I'm going to get your comment, and do my very best to answer in a timely fashion. So give this recipe a try. And if you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to the channel, boy, I'd really appreciate it. Especially if you're looking for Italian cookie recipes or a lot of other great cookies or pizza doughs or half sheet cakes and breads. I'm very proud of my work on YouTube. A lot of great recipes that I have from my parents' restaurants, family restaurants and catering from years past. So I hope you check out my channel. If you'd like to subscribe, can't thank you enough, or give the video a like, that would be fantastic. So Thanks for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.